Fight Island 3.0 is a wrap. UFC 257 in the books earlier today. It's time for us to get off this island, but first we got to talk about what happened. Dustin Poirier picking up arguably the biggest win of his career. I mean, it's tough to say when you're a former champion, even if it is of the interim variety, but a pretty big win over Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I think anytime you beat Conor McGregor, that's probably one of the signature wins of your career. I mean, Max Holloway is probably number 2, and yeah, he was a champion at the time in the featherweight division, but Conor McGregor is just a different level of star. The main event stage, Dana White saying that this is one of the top 2 or 3 selling pay-per-views of all time. So like the platform, the name value, and the performance too, it doesn't really get any better than what Dustin Poirier did.
Yeah, crazy how that kind of sells and not even have a title involved. Now, we thought we'd be getting some clarity on the title. Okay, let's talk first about the co-main event because we got somebody that could factor in there, right? Michael Chandler looked fantastic against Dan Hooker.
He did. I wasn't really expecting that. I thought it would be a bit longer of a fight, and he just managed to find that big punch. I think some people may be underestimating that part of his game a little bit coming in here. We know he could do that, but to see him lay out Dan Hooker like that, who'd only been stopped by strikes once in the UFC, really, really impressive. And I thought maybe it was going to be a little more wrestling from him, but no, he came out and pretty much maximized the performance. If you want something spectacular, as well, I'm sure we'll get to, that was pretty damn spectacular.
It was pretty spectacular, but here's where it gets interesting, right? So we know that we've got the Khabib Nurmagomedov sweepstakes going on. If Khabib is impressed by what he saw, then maybe he'll come back. I don't see how he's not impressed by either one of those performances, but UFC President Dana White tells us afterwards, hey, I did speak to Khabib, and he basically told me, Dana, it's time to start getting realistic with yourself. So it sounds like Khabib's not coming back. Well, then you go, okay, well, hate to see that, but Khabib is a great champion. You know what we'll do? We'll just line up Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. They'll fight for the undisputed UFC title, right? Wrong. Dustin Poirier says he's not interested in that fight.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting take by him, but I think fair, his reasoning, saying this is a guy who's come in, only had one fight. Like, I think Dustin Poirier, in terms of getting his first interim title shot, took him like 22 UFC fights, so he's a guy who's put in the work. I understand there's other guys out there, even like a Justin Gaethje has put in, and I think the other front runner there, Charles Oliveira, who's a guy who has close to 30 UFC fights under his belt. I think he really would maybe be the front runner in that sense, and I think Dustin Poirier, if he's going to reward someone with being his opponent in that sense, I think it's a guy he wants to feel that maybe deserves to be in there with him in the most maximum way possible.
Yeah, listen, emotions were running high. I think he even admitted the place was driving a little bit crazy. Fight Island has that effect on people. So listen, we've been cooped up in our hotels here. The safe zone's a little bit smaller. The race cars have been driving around the track all day. It drives people a little bit crazy. Maybe he'll settle down. But listen, a fight with Charles Oliveira, it is very interesting. You hate for Michael Chandler to not get rewarded for having such an incredible debut, but there's still some other big fights out for him. You think that's the fight to make?
Yeah, I think it's a tough call. I think when, like you said, Dustin Poirier, a little emotional, he's probably trying to make his stance, but I think when push comes to shove, if the UFC puts a contract in front of him for an undisputed lightweight championship, I don't think it's going to matter who's on the other side. He's going to be willing to sign that contract because he made it very clear that's the goal he is trying to accomplish at this point in his career. He said, I've pretty much done it all. That's something he hasn't done. So I think whoever it may be to get that fight is probably who he'll end up fighting.
Yeah, I kind of believe that as well. Not that Dustin Poirier is not a man of his word, but when you put that belt on the line, I don't know if he'll just go sell hot sauce like he said he would. Yeah. So we'll see. It was a great main event, great co-main event. UFC 251 was wrapped up the entire week of great cards. Now I'm ready to get back home, get to Las Vegas.
Let's go.